Hey guys, and welcome back, and in today's episode we will be painting the Mechanicus crane, and this crane is going to be painted in yellow, and I think it's quite fun. I think we're just going to go out and have some fun with this with crane, and like always I will be starting off with undercoating it black, and then after that's dry I will give it a grey coat of a highlight, and this will be done lightly over the top so that there's shaded areas that you can see, and then when we apply the base coat it will go over the light areas, and then the dark areas will be left how they are, so it creates that shade. So after the undercoat is done, we'll use a Avalanche Sunset and give it a base coat of that all around the model, and we'll just put it all the way around and just try and keep it the dark areas dark and the light areas light. We may even, if we do too much, we can always wash. When we add the wash, that will add the details to it anyway, but sometimes it's good to keep the darker areas just dark to give that kind of old effect, if you like. So we'll just do thin coats. So I went through about 3-4 thin coats of yellow just to get a nice even finish instead of flooding it the surface. Okay, so now we're going to use sun yellow, and we're going to use this just to create highlights on the top edges of the crane. So this project is just having a bit of fun and just being a bit, I guess, neat but also messy in a way, which you'll see later on. So we just want to let loose and have a bit of fun with this and keep it quite enjoyable. So as we move on, you'll see we'll add like different rust effects and washes and stuff. We'll just have a bit of fun with it and enjoy it. And now what I'm using is the light sun yellow again, dry brushing, and the actual brush that I'm using is a cheap makeup brush that you can get from Amazon, and this works quite well if you want a powdery dry brush. It works really well, and it just shows you don't have to go out and spend a lot of money on these types of brushes. Just get a set of brushes. I'll leave a link in the description for that as well, so you can get those. They're quite very cheap and they do the job. So I'm just dry brushing just to get the highlights in over the edges. Now I'm just using my Series 7 brush and just using a thin down paint to go over all the wires and all the details, all the areas that require a bit more of a steady hand. So I'm just blocking in the colors at the moment. So I'm just doing all the reds at the moment, and just slowly working my way through the model, just trying to get an even coat around. Give it about 2 coats and that should be ready. And then we'll move on to the other block colors of the other parts of the crane. Okay, so we're going to move on to the power supply bit at the end. We're going to use McGregor blue, and here what we're going to do, we're going to give it a base coat. We'll give it a couple of coats, and then I'll bring in the airbrush just to glow it up, but that's later on. So now, right now, we'll just neatly base coat all of the 4 power cylinders, if you like, and we'll just quickly we'll dim down the paints and just give them a nice couple of coats to where we've got nice full coverage around it. So take your time with this, you know, neatness is the key, and you just want to keep everything neat at the moment and block colors at the moment, and you will see how the wash will just change everything and make it look so much more detailed. Okay, so the reds and the blues are all done, all blocked out, and now what we're going to do, we're going to start painting the metallic areas of the model. So this will be the badges, the crane, the actual crane area, the piston areas at the back of the power supply bits, and we'll just go over in between, inside the crane, the chain, the gears, so the little crankshaft at the bottom. So we'll do everything in silver. So we'll give it a lead belcher, we'll give it a couple of coats, and then we'll get prepared to do the washing, and well, we'll gloss it and then we'll wash it. So we'll just go over all the areas neatly and keeping everything blocked and neat. You know, working on a large model like this, it's actually good to have a little base at the bottom, and to be honest, I should have put that down, but this round base which is at the bottom is quite good, that you can hold onto the model and you can always finish that off last. So I normally, when I'm working with big models like this, I just try to work in areas. So I'd work on like the front area, then like the back where the power supply is, then I might work on the middle. So you're just working on little areas at a time, because it can become overwhelming. You know, you think it's a massive model, where should I start? But just think of it as normal, like you start off with the base, the color, in this case yellow, then you move on to the block colors of the components, and then slowly build up. It's just patience, and then slowly you're just building up from that. But most importantly, have fun with it. That's the most important thing. No matter how it turns out, because each model is a learning experience. You're just learning more techniques, learning how to do things better, more efficiently, how to use the simplest techniques to get the most effective results. So just keep practicing. Each model is an experience. Each model gets you closer to where you want to be. Okay, so now I've got the airbrush out, and I just used the same base color, Maghreb blue, and I just mixed white to it. And I mixed a small degree of white, then I just used a little bit of air, just with putting the trigger back slightly, just to get, sorry the airbrush is in the way there, you can't really see it properly, the camera, but I'm just putting slight paint, not too much, and I'm taking it off just to check. And then what I do is when that dries, then I'll do another pass. I'll add a bit more white, so I'll make it a bit more lighter, and then I'll add that into the highlight, and then I'll just spray more towards the higher end of the cylinder and not so much on the side, so that the actual extreme highlight is at the top point of the cylinder. So I just keep on doing that back and forth until I'm happy. And what I'll do here is I'm actually going to highlight it a bit more. I'm actually going to highlight it a bit more than normal, because when you wash it, it's going to bring the color back down again. So I will highlight, instead of highlighting to 10, I will highlight to 11, and then the wash will bring it down to a number 10 or number 9, which is what I want in this case. And here I'm just going around the little components, little power supply area where the switches and levers are, and just painting it the green color, but you can paint any color you want. And I'll go around the lever with silver later on when it's all dry. I'm just going over any little things, any little details around. So now we've got all the colors blocked and all in, and we'll just use a gloss varnish, and we'll just airbrush a thin layer all over and let it dry for about an hour. So once the gloss has dried, we will use a dark tone army painter, and then we will start using a big brush and just watering down slightly the wash, and just load it all over. You can be quite generous with this, and you just want to get it all over, and then you will notice with the gloss how the wash will start just running off the surfaces into the detailed areas, the crevices, the recesses, and it will just slowly go into all the details. And what you can do is just play it, make sure you don't leave any puddles around, and when you're washing, sometimes the puddles can gather up. Just move them around with the brush, slowly maneuvering them into the areas you want them to be, and then you just slowly push them into your desired effect of how you would like the washes to end up and be. So just load it, be generous, have fun with it, and watch the detail just pop. After I've added the wash, I'll just go over the areas with another highlight, over the red areas, over the components, and I'll just give you a nice little touch up, and then I'll go back to the other areas as well and add a bit more highlights, like for example in the power unit at the back, add more highlights on the cylinders just slightly, and then moving on I will start adding some rust using this Vallejo rust paint here, and with this I will start adding it in the nuts and bolts and corners of all the crane areas, just to give it a bit more of that old effect. and then I'll add it to the crane itself at the front, just to add a bit of wear and tear. It's a really good wash to use, and I'll just go over the whole model doing that. So now, using Rhinox hide, I will be using a blister pack sponge, and with this I have another video on this for rust, and I will just be adding rust effect by dabbing the sponge onto the paint and then just dabbing it all around the corners and the areas. Now with this I would probably go a bit more down to town than I normally do, because it's an old mechanical machine, so I'll be adding rust all over and just enjoy it, have fun, dab it around. Obviously you don't want too much, but you know, whatever you feel is right, just do it, just have fun doing it, and just dab it around and see what kind of effects you get. And that wraps that up. I found this project quite fun. I found it quite liberating because I didn't really have to care much about the neatness. Obviously it was neatly block painted, but then I found the rust and washing it, I found that quite fun to do. And you know, this isn't a tutorial that's going to win you awards, but it's just something that's fun. I think you've got a model out there you want to paint, and you just want to splash out and just put some paint on it and then just enjoy, have fun with it. The Conquest packages come with some great terrain. There's a few more that I'll do, and I will put them up here on the channel. But I really did enjoy this. It was quite liberating just to be free with the brush and just paint and use the airbrush as well, which is always nice. So I would encourage you to do the same. Just get a terrain model and just paint away and have fun with it and enjoy. Try different stuff. You know, you get it wrong, who cares? But that's how you learn, that's how we learn it. So until next time, if you could be really great if you could like and share. This helps my channel a lot. It's still growing, still in its infancy, but thank you again for your views, for watching and subscribing and liking, and please share with anyone that you think that might want to learn and have fun watching this. Okay, until next time, happy painting.